We're all vigorously trained to think we need government. The principal argument for the necessity of government is that it keeps us safe. Curiously, it's really the greatest threat to our safety. In the U.S., we would be safer if the military didn't exist. On September 11th, people flew planes into buildings. They didn't do that in Canada or Belgium, Finland or Luxembourg. Those countries don't have hundreds of military bases with thousands of troops all over the world. Only the U.S. The people who took responsibility for the attacks cited the injustices of U.S. military excursions and occupation as their primary motivation. Absent the military, those attackers would have had no motive, and the U.S. would have been as safe as Finland or Luxembourg. We've been vigorously trained to think that if the U.S. decommissioned its military and disassembled its nukes, someone would invade or attack. But who and why? Would a power like Russia or China waste all that gas to transport hundreds of thousands of troops across an ocean, along with food and medical supplies and bullets and bombs, in order to fight Americans house to house? Let's not forget, Americans own upwards of 200 million guns. To compare, in World War II, Germany was the most militarized nation in the world. It went broke trying to occupy Denmark, a virtually unarmed nation that was almost the next-door neighbor. So who wants to cross an ocean to tangle with a population who has 200 million guns? Exactly. Nothing here is worth that. Potatoes in Idaho, corn in Iowa, cows in Texas. Besides, in the absence of the U.S. military, both Russia and China would have other designs closer to home. It's a total falsity that the U.S. military defends the U.S. from invasion or attack. If the military didn't exist, no invasion would occur. Also, contrary to the vigorously trained response, nobody would nuke the U.S. either. Nukes are expensive, there'd be no gain in nuking a state that's a non-factor, and radioactivity eventually drifts back to those who unleash it. The people calling the shots and spending the money know all this. Everyone would be safer without the provocation of the U.S. military, and its absence would permit the American people to redirect hundreds of billions of dollars. We're talking new roads, new schools, free college, the best health care in the world, and massive tax breaks. Consider, for decades the U.S. has spent more than the next 16 competing nations combined to build the most obscene military stockpile in human history. Convert that spending into something that resembles sanity for just a few years, and the U.S. might become a nice place to live. So, you might ask, if all that's true, why has no one ever done it? Excellent question. The answer is, this massive military machine creates tomorrow's enemies. That's job security for the privileged few appointed to play whack-a-mole to solve the problems they create. And it's wealth for all the multi-billion-dollar corporations involved in production of bombs and bullets, and in the development of new technology. But most importantly, the U.S. military provocations create the next enemy for us to fear. So we work hard and pay our taxes so our government can defeat the Nazis, or the Soviets, or the Koreans, or the Viet Cong, the Cubans, Sandinistas, Chinese, the Russians again, the Koreans again, Al-Qaeda, ISIS, and on and on. The United States and its military creates a dangerous world so that we live in constant fear, which makes us much more predictable for the privileged few who control us. That's why the government maintains a military. So, what do we need government for again? This is anarchist prisoner Sean Swain from Ohio's Supermax facility. If you're listening, you are the resistance.
You can write to Sean Swain at Sean Swain number 243-205 OSP 878 Coitsville-Hubbard Rd, Youngstown, Ohio 44505. To read some of Sean's writings and learn more about his case, check out seanswain.org.